Is our project. We are now from the source, main, Java, and then our project class path. So in simple terms, we'll start by creating a model. A model is basically a data a table in our database. So for example, now let's say we want to create a post. We want to create a blog. So blog will come and create our new blog class, which is now our it's now our table. We'll need to include the annotations. I basically use a Lombok to prevent me from writing a boiler code getters and setters. For example, for this class we can ideally the setters, we have to, anytime we add a column, we have to set to create a getter and a setter for that column. But with the Lombok, with this annotation for data, it will do that. So you don't need to write any other setters or getters. So you just need to declare your fields as private. Then the logbook will now generate now the getters and setters. So we can copy this very quickly. Okay, this is our now this is a ID. It's long. It has to be the Spring Boot will only allow the when we are searching, the primary key should be ID. The name should be ID. It can be any other data type. Then we can have a private string title, and private string description, and private string or date created on, or private boolean is published. Okay, now that's our sample entity. Now this one I will create once we run this, it will create table called blog in our database. From there, now how do we access data from this blog? Then we come to repository, and now we create a blog repository. Okay, our blog repository is an interface that extends JPA repository. Then we put argument here as blog, that's what, and the primary key, the data type for primary key is log. You can import that. Then we annotate this at repository. Now we will use now blog repository to save data into our database, into a blog database, or retrieve data from our blog database. So that's the first thing. Then we are now going to create another class, now a bus. Other developers, they call it service, but I like calling it a bus. Now we'll come here and create now another blog bus. You can see how I'm calling the word blog, because now I want everything that's related to blog, every class, every repository. I will not create any other class. For example, a bus class. That means I will anything that we need to do with blog, we have now to maintain that name as our prefix. So a blog bus is basically an interface. Now here we can basically declare methods that we need, all the operations or the actions that we need to do with blog. For example, we can have create blog, create blog. What we are passing here, we can pass a string map of string object. This is a map. Let's import this one. Sorry. Then we might need to update a blog. So our method will be update a blog. Then we pass a blog ID. Don't just put ID here. We can have several IDs, but we need to know what is this ID. So the name should be descriptive, so it's a blog ID. We would like also to list all blogs in as a list. So we can have a list. Then the method will be list blogs. We don't need to pass any parameters. We might also want to list only one blog. That means we need to return blog. So this one is read blog. Then we pass the blog ID. Okay. These are just some of the operations the basic operations that we may need to do on our blog entity. Then we need now to implement. We need now to actually write the now the business logic for creating the blog, updating the blog, and reading the blog. So we come here to implementation package, which is under bus, because basically what we are going to do, we are going to implement the blog bus interface. So we create a blog bus implementation. It's a class. Okay. So this one is a class, and now we are going to implement a blog bus. See how I have named this class. It's a blog bus implementation. So from this name, we can actually see that we are implementing the blog bus. All the interface on the blog bus we have to implement. So basically, then we can implement all the methods. For every implementation, we have to use a notation service, meaning that it's a service. Great. Now, we need also now to auto-wire our blog repository. This is how we are going to do. Private final blog repository. Then we need now to auto-wire this blog repository. So annotation auto-wired, simple as that. Then how do we now create a blog? Now for a new blog, we have our blog equals new blog. So we have blog dot set description. We can let's start with title. So you see here the loan book has already initialized. Since now the blog class we have annotated with data, so our compiler can actually see that there is a method called set title. But if we go to set title, it's just this. So that's the importance of now using the loan book. So set title, we have map dot get map dot get title is to string, set description set is published. Do you want us to publish it now? You can set here to true. Then blog dot set create end on. So we can say, we can just send a block of it dot now. This is an SQL dot value of that one. Then we need to save this block and return it. Save. Now we are using our repository to save that block. Basically now when you run this code, this data will be inserted into our database. Then we need to update block. Before to update block, we first need to query that block. So we have optional blog option is from class from Java util. So we have blogs blog repository dot find by ID, which is blog ID. Now our blog will be, let's call this blog optional dot get all else. If we can say all else null, meaning if it's null we don't do anything, or all else. I like using all else. Then here, sorry, I would like to throw or new exception, like on not like on not found exception, and then I will say blog not found. Then if we have blog, we have now a blog, we can now actually update. We can actually update our blog. Then we save the blog. As simple as that. How do we find all the blogs? So we can actually write here blog dot find all. Then read one blog, basically this one. We can use this one to read a blog and return a blog, just like that. So instead of now duplicating this code and this code, we do away with this one, and then we say that our blog equals read blog okay. Basically now we have called, so if a blog ID doesn't exist, it will throw an exception that the blog ID does not exist. If it exists, it will return a blog. What if now we want to do select to write more? For example, here we can have list. For example, we want now to select blogs that are published blog, or we select blog by status. Blog, we say find or by is published. Okay, this one is a boolean, is published. Okay, so in our implementation, if we need to implement to return a published blog only, now we'll actually now call this method like this, find or by is published. Then we can pass true or false depending on the data that you want, and that's it. Then what else do we need? Now it's just to create a controller to actually, we need to return now to this. Now we need to create an interface, which is now a controller to return data to for the API. So we'll have a blog controller. Okay, so a blog controller, we are going now to annotate. We are going to annotate with it's a list controller and it's validated. Okay, then here we'll now auto wire the blog bus. We are not going to call blog bus implementation anywhere. We'll only be dealing with now the blog bus. So private final blog bus. Okay. Oh, sorry. Blog bus. Then we can create a constructor for it. Then we can wire just like that. And then here what we have, we can now create at least, let's copy from here so that we do it faster. So let's just use this one. We might need now to let this is a blog. We need to return that entity. It's blog. What are we passing on our create blog? It is a map string object. So sorry. Create blog, then let's import this map just like that. What if now we the API will use the post mapping? So let's go ahead and do a get mapping for blog. lead blogs. So here we need to return list of blogs. Okay. Then lead blogs, we don't need to pass any parameter on that. We need to do what else? We need to update mob blog. So here we can use put or patch. Let's use put. Here we need the body because we need the body. This is update blog. What is it passing? It's passing. We are returning just a block, just one record. Then here is update blog. We also need the ID. So here we'll have blog ID. Then we annotate at the variable. Let's get a sample form here. Yeah. So this is it. So this is blog ID. Okay, the blog ID. So here we need to pass the blog ID from the URL and the map. Okay, if we need to get only one record, we then do what? We then don't pass the parameter to the map. Then this one will be get. Then we don't need there. This is did blog, just like that. And that's it. From there, IntelliJ allows you can actually generate an HTTP. Sorry, not that one. You can actually generate. Yeah. So that's how it will look. That's for the first one, for the blog. Then we can actually generate this show or endpoint. Sorry. We can also generate that one. We can also generate this one. This one. So basically that's all on simple Spring Boot framework. It's very simple, it's very fast, you don't have to do a lot of code, it's manageable. So if you import this, you post data with this, then you'll be able now to. That's all. See you in the next video.